I've been trading for over 5+ years now, and so far this year, I've been able to make on average $40,000 per month. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you a 7-step framework that will help you 7x your trading. Let's get right into the video. So, as you can see, these are my trading results year to date, and on average, I've been making around $40,000 per month to start off the year. In April, I end up making $45,000, and in March, I end up making $44,000. And you can see I've only had 3 red days in the past 2 months. And I want to show you exactly how I've been able to achieve these results on a consistent basis. And basically, I've broken it down into my 7-step framework that I'm about to explain to you in this video. So step number 1, keep it simple, stupid. A lot of people, when you first start trading, they overcomplicate their strategies, they overcomplicate their systems. And what you have to do as a trader is keep it as simple as possible. What a lot of traders fail to understand that it doesn't matter what strategy you trade, all you have to have is an edge in the markets. What I always say is if you can't explain your strategy to a kid, most likely your strategy is way too complicated. If you have fancy indicators plastered all over your charts, I see these new concepts that are being renamed all the time that make it so overly complex to a point where there's so many confluences, there's so much new terminology they have to look out for. It just makes it overly complicated and overly complex for the average trader, where you probably have all the information that you need to know. All you have to do is dumb it down and keep it as simple as possible. When you have a strategy that is so simple, simple meaning that you can repeat the same things over and over again, and that's what gets you that consistency that you want. Simplicity equals profitability. So keeping your strategy as simple as possible is what's going to allow you to become profitable in the long run. Number 2, plan your trade and trade your plan. What's so great about trading is that you are the one making the decisions. There's no one over your shoulder telling you what to do, but that can also come with some cons as well. If you're not good at following your plan, then it's going to be very hard for you to become successful, because in trading, you yourself is the only person that ultimately is going to decide if you're profitable or you're not. When you come into the pre-market, you want to develop a thesis coming into market open. You have your theses laid out, you have your bias laid out, you have your plan, your if and statements. What you want to do is go into that trading day executing the plan that you laid out in the pre-market. What you don't want to do is wake up in the morning, have no clue what you're doing. You come into the day, you randomly take setups that aren't within your system, that you don't have an edge in the markets, and that's what's going to keep you from becoming profitable. So understanding that if you have a plan, stick to your plan and trust yourself, because ultimately you're the only person that is going to make the decisions. Next, what I have is focus on the process and not the profits. Every single trader that comes into the markets is focused on the profits. It's human nature. When you first start trading, majority of the times you trade for the money or for the freedom. And regardless, you're not focused on the process itself. And to achieve becoming profitable in the markets, you have to focus on the process. If you solely focus on the profits, you're not going to be able to make money on a consistent basis, because you're not focused on what actually gets you to making those profits, and that's your process. Focus on the process and detach yourself from the outcome. If you're so focused on the process and the outcome of every single trade, and what you'll realize is that you're actually trading for money and not understanding that money comes from doing the same things over and over again. Your profits are going to vary on a trade to trade basis, but what you can control is the process. You can control the risk and how to actually make money. Number 4, become good at losing. What you have to understand is that the markets are always right. And a lot of traders, what they have a hard time of overcoming is being good at losing. And what you have to understand is that if you want to trade, you have to get good at losing, because losing is inevitable when it comes to trading. And there's one thing of losing and another thing of accepting a loss. You can lose on a given trade, but accepting the loss is something completely different. When you lose, it's an individual event. Every single trade is an independent event from another trade. If you bring those emotions from your previous trade over into the current trade, that's going to show that you're not accepting the loss. And you have to be able to accept the loss and move on and understand that trading is a game about probabilities. Then you'll have a good understanding of exactly what it takes to become profitable. Number 5, managing emotions is everything. When it comes to trading, managing emotions is just as important as managing risk. A lot of traders think that you want to become as robotic as possible. You hear this all the time, trade like a robot. And what you have to understand is that we're humans. Right? We can't trade like robots because we're humans and we have emotions. So being able to understand your emotions and use those emotions to your advantage is everything when it comes to trading. Your best asset in trading is yourself. If you don't listen to yourself, who else will? You understand yourself the best more than anyone else. If you can listen to yourself and understand your emotions, you can use that to your advantage. If you're feeling emotional after a loss, which is very common, what are you going to do after that loss? For a regular trader, what they're most likely going to do is try and make that money back no matter what. But if you're a profitable and experienced trader, what you'll understand is that you'll only look to take another setup if it's within your system. Ultimately, the difference between someone that's good at managing emotions and someone that can easily go on tilt is just understanding oneself. So you'll make the same mistakes over and over again, but understanding when you have those emotional pinpoints is going to be key from preventing you from doing something dumb. So managing emotions is just as important as managing risk. So make sure you're journaling your emotions and understand exactly how you feel in certain situations. Number 6, success is not linear. And that is just like our trading. It's not going to be linear. Of course, we'd like to just have a trading chart that goes straight up, but that's not always the case. If you ever see how stocks move, they're never going to move up in a straight line. They're always going to be pullbacks. There's always going to be big moves towards the upside. And that just comes with peaks and valleys. So understanding that success is not going to be the same for everyone. It could take you years to become profitable, whereas it might take some a few months depending on the situation. Not every situation is going to be the same. Your trading journey is not going to be anywhere near someone else's trading journey because everyone is different. So if we understand that success is not linear, all you have to do is zoom out. I talk about this in the charts all the time as well. When in doubt, zoom out. And if you have consistent higher highs and higher lows, understand that you're in a good place and that you're trending in the right direction. And finally, what I have here is find a coach slash mentor. Being able to be around like-minded individuals, finding a community that can be supportive goes a long way in trading. You have to understand that trading is an individual game, right? It's very lonely and boring. And that's how trading is designed. But it doesn't have to be that way. If you have a community where you have coaches and mentors that can guide you on the right path, it's going to really shorten that learning curve because they've already been through what you've been through. But just like anything else, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Trading's been around for hundreds of years. There's nothing new about trading. So why do so many traders fail? Is because they don't have the proper guidance and the right framework in order to become successful in the long term. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a comment below letting me know if you want to see more videos like this. We're almost at 100K, so I'd appreciate if you drop me a like and sub. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next week for a brand new video. Peace.